What is going on, everybody? I'm here. I'm doing a podcast. I am alone now. I say I'm alone. I'm alone for just a weekend technically, but it's weird. It's a weird dynamic because here I am. I'm home alone by myself. Ethan's in school right now. Today is actually technically Friday. Sorry, clear my throat. Shannon's gone. Shannon has gone to Utah for the weekend because there is a baby shower. So it happens to be our grandbaby, and happens to be our oldest daughters. That her and her husband are expecting a baby in January. So that's exciting. So Shannon's going out there for a baby shower. I'm a bachelor this weekend. I'm not a bachelor. You know, that always irritates me. People say, well, I'm a bachelor this weekend. No, you're not. You're still married. Nothing changed. You're still married. Your life still goes on. Unless you want to go fool around with women and get in trouble, go for it. If your marriage is that rocky and their marriage, you're not getting that satisfied out of your marriage that you have to act that way, that seems like that's your problem. So, but no, I am not a bachelor. I'm just home alone. Home alone right now, but then Ethan will be here and we'll go get some dinner later on tonight. But yeah, that's kind of just how it is. How sending Shannon away. She needs to break anyway. She wants to go spend time with her kids, which is amazing. I wish I could have gone, but I got to hold down the fort to get Ethan to and from school and all this other stuff. So yeah, life is good. Anyway, sorry, clear my throat because it's been just getting over being sick. Was sick for, honestly, I haven't been sick like this in a long time. It's sick for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, I guess it was. There's something going around and I didn't get it. I rarely get sick. So hear me, I rarely get sick, but when I do, I'm down. And it didn't happen until my wife, so she works for the hospital. And when you work for the hospital, they require you to get, vaccines. So she goes and gets a vaccine and she gets the flu vaccine, which essentially spiked it all off. She ended up getting sick. She ended up passing it to me. I got sick. I couldn't shake it seemed like, until they gave me this steroid. I can't remember what drug they gave me, but I took that and basically within a few days started feeling better. Still got a little bit of some of the drainage, but that is what that is. So I apologize if I have to clear my throat multiple times during this thing, but it is what it is. So anyway, we have some cool stuff happening. I'm throwing out on social media so people can have access to this as well. I've got a way you can call in now. The phone will not be answered, but voicemail will. So you have the opportunity to call in and leave a voicemail. And in that voicemail, you will be able to say, hey, Devin, here's what my problem is. Here's what's going on in my life. Here's all this. And what do you think about it? So kind of a cool new thing. It's not really new to me. Been talking about it for a bit. Got it ready to go. So I'll throw that out there. So if anyone is listening and they want to call in and leave a voicemail, perfectly fine. If you want to be part of the show more than just a voicemail and actually be a guest on the show to talk about your problems, I am open for that. I am 100% open for that. I will throw on social medias a link where you can go fill out the information and learn to be part of, and you sign up to be part of the show. And we'll talk about your problems and see what we can do to help you out. So now that being said, if you ever want to call in and leave voicemail, you can call in anytime. The number is 615-624-4141. That is the number that you can call in. I'll say it again, 615-624-4141. We've got today about 3 emails, 3 emails and a voicemail. So we're going to do that. We got some people who have problems and we want to solve them. So anyway, let's knock this sucker out and let's start going with, here's the deal. Nothing is off limits. Okay. I'll say it many times. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Nothing when it comes to a question that you may have is off limits. I will say, I would like anyone that calls in, I'd like them to at least be 18. And if you're not 18, then you'll have to have your parents sign off on some information for you, because we want to keep everything, cool and easy. Simple as that. So 18 or older, you can call in, leave a voicemail. If you're younger than that, you need to have your parents say, hey, this is so-and-so's parent. They're about to leave you a message. this is what they will have a question and then hand off the phone. That's fine too. So I want to make sure I keep myself above water here, so not doing anything stupid. So anyway, let's jump into this. Let's do an email, then we'll do the voicemail, and then we'll finish up with the other two emails. So let's get started. The first one is from Claire from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hey, Devin. Seems like everybody's screaming freedom of speech these days. I can say what I want to say, no big deal, but do you really have it? With the media twisting stories and the government throwing up walls, it feels like people just say whatever they want, hurting feelings and feelings of people on the right and left feeling left behind. I'm lost on where the line is. What do you think free speech? What do you think of free speech? Or do you think it's real, or do you think it's chaos? Okay, so let's get that. Let me explain something pretty clear. The Constitution gives us freedom of religion, freedom of speech, a lot of freedoms. Literally every freedom we ever want to have given to us by God. Plain and simple. Now, when it comes to the freedoms, if you think about it, when it comes to these freedoms, what those freedoms are is very specific. And you have to understand this. And most people don't fully understand this. To understand our freedoms and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that stuff, technically, those are not that we can do and say whatever we want to do. It is limiting what the government can do to us. So you have the freedom of speech to say whatever you want to about your government, plain and simple. You can say technically whatever you want to say about anyone else, but there is repercussions. Okay? The repercussion is if someone, you have to be able to prove it. If you said something bad about me, then I have the right to go get a lawyer and I can sue you for defamation. And you would have to prove that I am or did say or whatever it was that you're claiming about me. If you cannot prove that, I can sue you and I will win. When it comes to the government cannot and should not ever stop you from saying what you want to say about the government. I can say that Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, whoever it is out there, I can call them idiots and there's nothing they can do about it. Plain and simple. In their capacity in the government. Now, if I said that about them personally, based off of being whatever in their business, technically they could sue me. Most people won't. Okay, most people won't. I am a believer in freedom of speech. I always have been, always will be. That's why I do what I do, because I think people need a chance to talk about things and really want to be able to get work through things. But you can't just limit things. Now, the governments and news media has done wrong. BBC, for instance. There's an edited version of what Donald Trump said during the so-called insurrection. That being said, those so-called insurrections, during that time, he said one thing when he actually said another thing. They edited things out to make it sound like he said something or said something that he didn't say. Donald Trump, President Trump, I'm sure he's doing it already, can 100% go in and sue the living snot out of the BBC because they created a narrative that was not true. If you lie, you're going to get in trouble. Plain and simple. It's not that difficult. So, Claire, I'm going to tell you right now, freedom of speech is real. Freedom of speech is true. Just say what you can say what you want, but be careful what you say about and who you say it about, because there can be repercussions. You know, I look at it as another example is kind of like I had someone tell me, do you believe in the Second Amendment? I said, yes, I do. I'm a firm believer that we need to be have a very well armed community and people. And they're like, I can't believe you'd say that. I said, and they're like, aren't you afraid that you may get shot? And my answer is no. And it's plain and simple. Why am I not afraid I won't get shot? because I automatically assume that everyone is carrying a gun. When you have multiple people carrying firearms, then you have a more respectful society. Those that will use it for nefarious means are always going to use it for nefarious means, plain and simple. We have seen repetitive reasons and understanding of that. That happens often for people who use it for bad means. Those of us that carry that you don't know that carry, you don't know we have one. So I will treat everybody with respect. I'll treat everybody the way they should and never have to use my weapon. And that's the point. So when it comes to freedom of speech, don't say anything that you just don't want to be known or to be said. That's how that works. You don't have to say everything that pops in your mind. There seems to be an issue when it comes to like the younger generations. They feel like they have the right to yell and scream however and whatever they want to with people, but it's not right. Sometimes just keep it to yourself. That's okay. We have the freedom of speech, but we have the lack of ability of keeping silent. That's what we're running into. All right, let's look at another one of these things. Okay, this is a good one. This is from Troy from Oregon. Hey, Devin, weirdest thing, hiking near Portland last weekend. All quiet till I hear rustling in the bushes. Heavy steps, slow, deliberate. I pull out my phone, zoom in, nothing, but just dark, blurry, shape slipping behind the trees. Like every crappy Bigfoot pic ever. Yeah, but I swear it. Moved weird, not a deer, not a bear. I'm not saying it's him, but I mean, what if? Trotting back to the car, car felt like a horror movie as I hurried back to get off the trail back there. Bigfoot, my friend. What do I think about Bigfoot? I don't know. I can honestly say when I was a young adult, I was driving from my parents' house back to my house. It was about a 35 mile ride, and actually about 20 mile ride. And I'm driving through some of these back roads, and I will say I saw something cross the street that was not a dog. It's not Bigfoot size, just so you guys know. Not a dog. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't, I don't know what it was. It walked on two legs. It was a grayish color, and it hurried through the woods. And I dare say that I saw something in the sky. I don't know what I saw. I have an idea, but it's kind of hard to describe. I could probably tell you guys about it. But so I think that stuff could be real. I think that stuff, because there's stuff out there that we don't know about. Whether Bigfoot is real, though, I don't know. That's a phenomenal question. Is Bigfoot real? You guys tell me. Seriously, go find. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to know if there was something like that out there that existed, but I don't know. That's a phenomenal question. One that I have no answer for. So anyway, all right, let's get to the voicemail. Let's pull this voicemail up and let's see what they have to say.
Hey, Devin, how do I go about telling my in-laws that the way they treat their dog is an absolute circus? This dog, let me tell you about this dog. If you've ever seen the movie Where the Red Fern Grows, this is the same type of dog. This dog lives in the house. It's always lived in the house. This dog thinks it's a human being. And it also thinks it's a lap dog. So if you ever sit down in the house, anywhere, on the couch, this dog will sit on top of you if you're in its specific spot that is specifically for the dog on the couch. It will get behind you. It will nudge you. It will paw at you. It will whine at you until you literally can't take it anymore. You have to get up and move away. This is the best part. When this dog has to go outside to use the bathroom, if it's raining, they have to walk outside in the rain with this dog and get wet while they hold the umbrella over the dog so the dog can do its business. I'm not even kidding. This is the most insane thing you've probably ever heard. But it gets more. Wait, there's more. This dog, we've been house sitting, so we've been dog sitting while my in-laws have been out of town. This dog, when you leave the house, when you leave the dog by itself, this is a true story, you have to turn on Little House on the Prairie on the TV so the dog will be calm and while nobody's there to attend to it. So this dog watches Little House on the Prairie all day until someone comes home. Anytime they leave the dog alone, they have to turn the TV on Little House on the Prairie. So I need your help. I need an intervention for my in-laws. I need somebody to help me figure out a way to communicate to them that this dog is completely running their life. And I understand treating your animals well, but this to me seems a little absurd. Let me know what you think.
Okay, so if you don't know, if you guys never seen movies Redfern Grows, that actually is I looked it up. It is a what was it? Not a coon. It's a red bone hound, decent sized dog. I will say, yeah. So red bone coon hound is what it is. Now that's a decent sized dog. It's a large dog. It's not it's not as big of a dog as like our lab Great Dane. We've always had Great Danes, but that's a big dog. And if that dog is so starved for attention, then that's kind of the issue that they have going on right now. That it's like, oh, this dog is doing this. My friend, here's the deal. Well, first off, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. One, you're doing a great thing for your in-laws, but do you know the difference between in-laws and outlaws? If you don't, I'll tell you. Outlaws are wanted. Now, I know, dumb joke, whatever. But the reality is, when it comes to dogs, so I had to look it up. I'm like, okay, I've noticed a lot lately, people treat their animals as if they were family. I get it, okay? I get it. But sometimes they treat their animals better than they do people. Of course, then there's the excuse of, well, dogs just don't talk back, or dogs will do this, they'll love you unconditionally. Yeah, but dogs can't give you that human connection. Sure, dogs are good for a lot of things. They're good for fighting diabetes. They're good for helping you out on the service level, the service dog issues. They help veterans. Their animals are great. Don't get me wrong. I love our animals. But I had to go look at the numbers. Okay. It said, according to statistics, there is approximately 89.7 million dogs in the United States, owned by 59.8 million households. And that is out of the total of that is basically 45% of all the 132.2 million households in the United States. So over half of the United States has a dog and multiple dogs. Okay. Yeah. So this means there are more dogs than kids in the United States today, and nearly twice as many households with dogs with children under the age of 18. The pet industry often calls them fur babies, where dogs feel an emotional spot in their life. Plain and simple. Got it. I understand that. Now, I pulled it up. I wanted to know. I want to know the birth rate of because I'm trying to understand the thinking behind the animals and how people, let me backtrack for a second. You mentioned something there that you were talking about how, if it's raining outside, they have to hold a umbrella over the dog and not you. That's weird. Sorry, that's weird. That's nutty. When our dog wants to go outside to pee or poop, because obviously we don't let him pee or poop in the house, I open up the door. I say go. He goes out there and he does his business. If it's snow, when we lived in Utah, he'd run out there and he'd do his business, and then he would come back in. Now I would go out there and I pick up the mess or whatever needs to be done to keep a nice clean yard. That's cool. But holy crap. If your dog will not go out there unless you hold an umbrella over it, the dog has trained you. You haven't trained the dog. A dog is still a pet. I'm sorry. I can't subscribe to the idea that my dog is my child. And I know that there's a statistic for that also, but it was interesting. So now I'm going to fast forward to this. In 2016 was the Crossroads. Okay. 2016, it was a big year. So dog ownership versus annual birth rate. That is when the dog ownership and birth rate, that's where those crossed. They were literally almost even during 2016. Now you fast forward to 2024, the birth rate has declined tremendously. And we're talking to the point of birth rate and dog ownership was roughly around, what was it? About 62 million. So it's dogs in a household by million. So about 62 million, and the birth rate was about 62 million here in the United States in that year. Then you fast forward to 2024, where the dog ownership is up to 68 million. And then you look at annual birth rate, you're looking at less, like 52 million. So in 2016 is where those crossroads happened and they were equal, but then dog ownership went up higher and then the birth rate dropped tremendously, like insane amount by the time of 2024 came around. It's just nutty to me. It's a dog. They usually eat the same type of meal every night. I know. Go ahead and say it. People can say it. They do what they want to do. They love you unconditionally. No big deal. Dogs can be too needy. It drives me crazy with our dog. He'll sit there. He wants to sit on the furniture. I don't let him. Shannon occasionally does. I don't like that. Whatever that is, we'll just call it what it is. But he will sit there and he'll paw at you like, hey, give me attention. I don't. So I'll say it. I'm more of a cat. Now I'm allergic to both cats and dogs. Let me get this clear. Let that be said. But I would rather have a cat than a dog. And part of that is because dogs require you to love them more. They require the attention. They require all of the stuff. Where a cat, they just exist. If I want to pet the cat, I go grab the cat and I pet the cat. Occasionally, if the cat wants to be pet, he'll come up to me. I don't need that kind of attention in my life. I don't have to have someone always pawing at me, asking me to do something or wanting me to do something. And that's where dogs are. It's crazy. It's crazy. So there's another statistic that said over 53% of dog owners say that their dogs are as much part of the family as human members, like kids and spouses. This jumps to 61% who explicitly call their pets their child. Stop calling your dog your child, please. It is your dog. It is your pet. You own it. You paid for it. It is your pet. It is not. Now, Gen Z leads the pack at 49 to 70% of young adults 18 to 26 treat their dogs literally like children or prefer pets over kids, with 67% delaying parenthood for fur babies. Millennials follow at 57 to 58%. Then you go to, I don't understand. Now, so Shannon and I are in a different world, okay? So you left voicemail. You're talking about how all these strange things you're babysitting or dog sitting. Excuse me. I apologize. Should never said babysitting, but you're dog sitting and house sitting. I understand the thinking behind the dog with being in love with Michael Landon. I mean, I can think of during Little House on the Prairie days, every woman in America had an infatuation and loved Michael Landon and wanted that to be part of her life. Obviously, your dog has the same taste as your average 80s, 90s housewife out there. I guess that's okay. But I dare say that they're catering way too much to this animal. My personal opinion. As crazy as it is what it is, right? But now I look at it as Shannon and I are getting older. Our kids are moving out. Kids are got their own lives. Our children are having children. It's amazing. We are down to one child in the house now. That's also amazing and scary and kind of crazy all around. It's just part of what life is. I don't foresee us getting more animals, though. As a matter of fact, Shannon and I have had the discussion when our dog Bentley dies, I don't think we'll replace him. I don't want any more inside dogs. I want to be able to travel. And when you have an animal, you have to pay extra or pay someone or have someone watch that animal and take care of that animal while you do what you want to do. See, I don't like that. I want to be able to have my freedoms. Obviously, you're being kind enough to go out there and take care of the dog and do all those things that is required. Go there early in the morning and turn on the Little House on the Prairie. I mean, there could be worse things that your dog could be watching, I guess. I guess that's a good easygoing TV show for the dog to watch. So be it. But come on. Anyway, whatever. Not sure I answered your question, but I will tell you that the statistics speak for themselves. People are turning more towards animals versus having children. And in the long run, I don't foresee dogs ever being able to go out there and make you money and or be able to claim your dogs on your taxes. So there's that. Unless you know a way to claim your dog or your pet stuff on taxes, please let me know, because I'd like to know that, because we have an expense that I like to get rid of. So anyway, thank you for the voicemail. I appreciate it. You guys, again, call in anytime, 615-624-4141. I will get to it. If I don't get to it, then I apologize. But yeah, leave messages. I will respond to them in kind. So anyway, I guess we'll jump on one more email and then we'll get off of here. Let's see. Hey, Devin, you've heard it a million times. We all struggled in our 20s. Sure, maybe. But then let's run the numbers. Rent, $2,200 a month for one bedroom in any city with jobs. Eggs, $7. Yes, really. Student debt, $50K the day you graduate. Job security, at will employment, zero guaranteed. You'll have health insurance next quarter. Your parents weren't paying 40% of their take home on rent alone. They bought houses on a single high school diploma income. Eggs were 79 cents, not a luxury good. Next time someone drops the "we all struggle" line, hit them with the receipts. The game board changed. The advice didn't. What's your go-to comeback when the boomers pulled this card? Cheers, Kevin from Los Angeles. Kevin, here's the deal. You need to move. There are remote jobs, I know. And you may be working remote right now too. But if you're not, find you a remote job or find a small town that will pay you decent or that's comparable to what you're currently making. Because honestly, you have a very expensive town to live in. Call me a boomer all you want. The reality is when it comes to you, it's time for you to pull those granny panties up and get yourself to work. I know. You're like, well, I work enough as it is. I want a social life. I want to be able to do this and this and this. Wah. If it's not worth fighting and working hard for, you're never going to get it. Sure, things can be harder. Sure, things don't always work out how you think they should work out. Sure, rent can be $2,200. I'll tell you, we left Utah. We were paying right around $2,100 a month for rent for a crappy little townhome. And we moved here to buy land and build a house. Now, until then, the house we live in, technically it rents out for $1,500 a month. But I will tell you, it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and I pay $1,500 a month. You need to move. Know how much eggs are here in this town? $3 a dozen. You can fix that by getting your own chickens. I'm telling you. The problem is that I see the generations coming up right now, they're spending so much time in school, so much time doing things that they honestly, you were kind of conned into doing because you go to public school, and when you're in public school, you have all your counselors telling you, this is what we want to do. This is what the stuff you need to do. This is the courses you need to take so you can get better grades. So when you go to college, you can do this. And oh, by the way, let me hook you up with some student loans for college when you start getting in there. Stop. It's a scam. Okay. You got sucked into it. You want to be mad at boomers. You want to be mad at regular society when in reality, Just buckle up and figure it out. Sure, you may have to move away from the fun areas. Does it matter? As I told my wife when we moved back south to the middle of nowhere, I said, all we have to do is be within a couple of hours of an airport and we can be anywhere we want to go. Plain and simple. If you're looking for fun, looking for something like that, you just got to be within a couple of hours from an airport and you can be anywhere you want to go. It's that simple. Rent doesn't have to be expensive. You can find a home to buy for actually pretty decent price out there right now. It's just going to require some sweat equity. Means, if you don't know what sweat equity is, means you got to work. Do some painting, redo a living room, redo a kitchen, just something. You have to put in the effort. Anything worth having is worth putting the effort into. If you want a good relationship, you put it in the effort. If you want a nice car, you work to get the nice car. You don't always start off with the nicest car in the world. Holy crap. You start off with a junker. And then you just build up from there if you want that. It comes down to, what do you really want in life? Job security? Sure, it's at will. Everything out there, there's really no job security. You want job security? You go find your company and you perform well and you do your job like you're supposed to and you keep it going, you work your hardest and you show that you're worth it. Now, they're going to pay you minimal because that's what jobs always do. They pay you minimal just to keep you there. Now, what you want is, what you're asking for is big money for minimal work, as everybody else is. You got to figure that out, dude. And how to figure that out is literally just buckling down and getting to work. Blame millennials, complain about the unemployment, complain about. So I was I was in a car once and I was talking to this. It was a Uber ride, and girl was telling me. She says, "I'll never be able to own a house." I'm like, "Why won't you own a house?" She goes, "They're too expensive." I said, "What type of house are you looking for?" And she says, "Just a house. I just want to own a house." I said, "Okay." I said, "Do you have a budget?" She goes, "Yeah, but I'm paying $2,000 a month in rent." I'm like, "Okay, that's average." And she says, "I just can't afford it." Okay, so you can't afford to live here. I said, "I can promise you, there's a website. It's called Cheap Old Houses, and you, or even Instagram or whatever. Go to Cheap Old Houses. They advertise houses everywhere. They're old houses. They need work, but they advertise these houses. And if you put in sweat equity, you got a house. Plain and simple. Anyone can have anything they want. They just have to figure out what kind of changes to their life that they want to make so they can get it. And that's what I told her. I said, no, you can have anything you want. You can own a house. You just have to put in the effort to get it. You may have to change your lifestyle a little bit to get it. As sad as that is, now I'm not a believer of spending millions of dollars for a crappy house in Salt Lake City. That's one reason we left Utah, was because it was getting to the point where just to buy a little piece of property, like one lot, you're looking at a lot for minimum like $250,000. So I've already got $250K invested in a lot that I don't even have a house on, and then I got to build a house. So the house is going to cost me another $300,000 to $500,000. That means you're mortgaged until the day you die. That seems slightly ridiculous and too much. Not only that, I read a thing the other day. They're talking about how we can now get 50, where they're trying to promote, I don't know if it's actually happening, but a 50-year mortgage. Why? I can hear Dave Ramsey in Nashville screaming right and left, "Stop it." A 50-year mortgage is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. You're literally, when you buy a house, no matter what, even at lower interest rates, you're still paying for, by the time the 30-year mortgage is done, you've paid for that house twice. So, because that's essentially, if you look at interest, you pay for over the time of the mortgage. So you won't pay for what, 1.5, 2.5 times at 50, maybe 3, because your payments at the beginning of a mortgage, that's mostly interest. Look at it. Go get an amortization schedule, break it down, and you'll see it's mostly interest. So if you want to help yourself knock off a payment and make your interest cheaper, you pay 2 payments in the beginning of the month. So you pay a payment, the first payment that's due, and then you pay one and you have them pull that off the back side, which is all principal. So you're working at the loan 2 different directions. So by the time you get to the middle, you cut off a bunch of years, and you've paid less interest, and you're not paying a ton. Now, not everybody can afford, say, $4,000 a month. It's insane. It makes no sense. I understand what you're saying here, Kevin, but as I've said it before, and the infamous quote from Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, if I can quote it correctly, he said, "The problem is not the problem. Your attitude about the problem is the problem." So what you're blaming the problem on, and you want to have that epic comeback to boomers, the reality is this doesn't need to have a comeback. What you need to do is just work. Change habits. You don't need the brand new phone. You don't need to have all these fancy things. You don't need that expensive $8 coffee at the beginning of your morning. Buy a coffee machine. Drink Folgers. Dead serious. Simple as that. Those are the things that will help you. You cut back on your expenses, I guarantee you'll find money that you can make. And you're going to say, well, you need a gig job. Sure, do gig work too. But you don't have to. A person can live pretty well on their budget if they're on a budget. Plain and simple. Anyway, just wanted to go through this. I'm going to get off this podcast and get things going. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the call-ins, all that stuff. I appreciate it. Again, if you want to call in and leave me a voicemail, I'll take it. The number is 615-624-4141. I am available anytime. I'll always get those calls. I'll get that done. My wife is trying to call me, but all is well. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys later. We'll see you.
Side, we're free.